Hello. Today we embark on a journey into one of history's most enigmatic natural events, the Tunguska explosion. In 1908, something so massive occurred in the depths of Siberia that its effects were felt across continents. Yet the true mystery lies not just in its force, but in the unanswered questions it left behind. It was June 30th, 1908. For the people living near the Podkamenaya Tunguska River in central Siberia, the day began like any other. A clear sky, the warm touch of summer, and nothing seemed out of place. But around 7 a.m., something strange appeared in the sky. A blazing fireball racing from east to west. It seemed to fall toward the earth. The sky turned brighter than day. Moments later, the ground began to shake. It was as if a colossal force rose from beneath the earth. Trees swayed violently, windows shattered, and people in distant villages lost their balance. In a matter of seconds, the explosion struck. A thunderous roar, far louder than any storm, shook everything. The sound was heard from over 1,000 kilometers away. Farmers living 60 kilometers from the explosion center reported seeing a giant blue-white column of light rising into the sky. It was so bright, they had to shield their eyes. Within seconds, the shockwave spread. Trees collapsed as if crushed by an invisible hand. The taiga forest was flattened like blades of grass. Locals had no idea what had happened. Some spoke of the wrath of gods, others of the end of the world. Fear gripped the entire region. The nearby Evenki people believed a fiery spirit had fallen from the sky and destroyed the forest. To them, it was a supernatural event. But it took scientists 19 years to reach the area. In 1927, geologist Leonid Kulik led the first expedition into the mystery zone. As Kulik walked among the scorched trees, he realized he was nearing the center. The trees lay outward, as if blasted away from a single point. But something was missing. No crater, no meteor fragments. It was as if a ghost from the sky had done this. Kulik's team searched among the mud and charred tree roots for clues, but there were none. The source of the explosion remained invisible. Around 80 million trees had been leveled. It was the largest natural explosion ever recorded, yet it left behind no trace. Scientists began developing theories to explain the blast. Was it a meteor, a comet, or something else that exploded in the atmosphere? Some researchers proposed that a meteoroid exploded in the atmosphere before hitting the ground, an airburst that caused all the destruction. But why did this explosion leave behind no meteorite pieces? Scientists were baffled. Tunguska was full of secrets. After the 1927 expedition, the Tunguska Event began drawing global attention. Was it merely a natural phenomenon? Particles from the blast reached the atmosphere and lit up night skies across Europe, a sign of something truly extraordinary. For the first 20 years, only legend spoke of Tunguska. Science was just beginning to chase the truth. When the first expedition to Tunguska concluded, the magnitude of the event shook the scientific world. This wasn't just a local incident. It was a cosmic catastrophe etched into Earth's history. Scientists suspected something had exploded in the atmosphere. But such a powerful detonation, leaving no physical remains, was incredibly strange. One theory proposed that a comet entered Earth's atmosphere and exploded mid-air, composed mostly of ice and gas, leaving no trace behind. Other scientists argued it was a meteoroid that disintegrated in the atmosphere, but still, why were there no fragments? During his exploration, Kulik also listened to local testimonies. Some claimed to have seen blue lights dancing in the sky before the explosion. What caused these mysterious lights in the sky? Some scientists believed they were caused by ionized air reacting to the explosion. In the days after the explosion, the night skies across Europe were so bright that people could read newspapers outdoors. It was abnormal. This phenomenon was thought to be caused by particles suspended in the atmosphere reflecting sunlight. But what were these particles? Kulik's expeditions were supported by the Soviets, but the journey was harsh. The terrain was difficult, the weather brutal, and resources scarce. At ground zero, there was one tree still standing. Everything around it had been destroyed. That tree became a symbol of the mystery. At the epicenter, the ground was glass-like, melted from intense heat. But what had generated such extreme temperatures? Some radical theories suggested that a small black hole may have collided with Earth. It was an extraordinary hypothesis. According to the theory, the black hole would have pierced the Earth and exited elsewhere. But no exit point was ever found. Another wild theory proposed that the explosion was caused by a crashing alien spacecraft. Was it an accident or intentional? This idea first surfaced in the 1940s. Since then, it has inspired many conspiracy theories. But there was no evidence. The scientific community kept its distance from theories lacking evidence. But among the public, these stories spread like wildfire. Kulik believed the explosion had unnatural origin, but the data kept leading him to more questions. By the 1930s, Tunguska was still unsolved. Yet every new investigation only revealed deeper layers of mystery. Science needed more data, but the Soviet Union shifted its focus to war and development. Research came to a halt once again. The mystery of Tunguska fell back into silence, but this was only the beginning. The Tunguska explosion hadn't just flattened trees, it altered the chemical structure of the soil. Scientists discovered elements not normally found in the area. In the blast zone, traces of nickel, iridium, and certain radioactive isotopes were found. Could these be remnants of a cosmic object? Tree rings in the area showed accelerated growth in the years after the explosion. This was highly unusual. Some researchers believed minerals released by the explosion enriched the soil. Others pointed to signs of mutation. Genetic abnormalities were observed in local wildlife, especially insects and microorganisms. It was deeply concerning. Kulik's team also found animal bones, but what they belonged to remained unclear. Some were completely charred. Reports indicated a sharp decline in bird and insect populations after the blast. The ecosystem had been disrupted. For years, a smoky, mist-like atmosphere lingered over the region. Could it be caused by gases released during the explosion? Geologically, underground layers showed signs of disruption. Seismic waves from the blast were recorded as far as 1,000 kilometers away. These tremors were recorded by observatories even back then. But no one could make sense of the data for years. Scientists attempted to measure the electromagnetic energy emitted by the blast, but the technology in 1908 was simply not enough. Modern analyses estimate the blast released between 5 to 15 megatons of energy, several times stronger than a large nuclear bomb. Magnetic anomalies are still observed in the area. Compasses go haywire as they near the blast center. These magnetic anomalies support the idea of a cosmic origin. What if a true space object really did explode here? Even today, the blast zone is studied like a living laboratory, both biologically and geologically unique. Underground water sources also showed signs of change. Water levels became erratic, and some regions had altered chemical compositions. All of this proved that the explosion's effects lasted for decades. It wasn't just a moment of destruction, it sparked long-term transformation. Some scientists consider Tunguska to be the largest uncontrolled energy release on Earth in recorded history. But what was the source of such massive energy? Even today, no one knows for sure, and that's what makes Tunguska unique. The traces of the Tunguska explosion remain in the soil, in the skies, and even in the DNA of living things. Science's work is far from done. Kulik's expedition ended with a strange absence. No crater, no meteorite fragments. It defied every expectation. Trees closest to ground zero were still standing, scorched on the outside, but hollow and charred within. This strange pattern was seen as evidence of an airburst, an explosion in the atmosphere before hitting the ground. Some researchers claim the explosion didn't start at Tunguska, but much higher in the atmosphere, a far more complex scenario. Kulik's findings sparked international curiosity, but in the Soviet Union, information was tightly controlled. Scientists began calculating the energy released, and the numbers were staggering, over 1,000 times more powerful than Hiroshima. But how could such a massive explosion leave no trace? It challenged the very limits of scientific reasoning. Alternative theories emerged. Some even speculated it was a nuclear-like detonation, decades before the first atomic bomb. Some claims went further, suggesting the explosion was caused by an alien spacecraft crashing to Earth. Tunguska had become a mythic event. Caught between scientific inquiry and folklore, Tunguska became ever more shrouded in mystery with each passing year. Research within the Soviet Union remained limited, but scientists in the West began seeking new ways to solve the Tunguska mystery. In the 1950s, some geologists proposed the blast might have come from deep within the Earth's layers, but there was no proof. The Tunguska site remained extremely difficult to access, making research slow and challenging. For those seeking to understand Tunguska, there were only observations, assumptions, and theories. The truth remained hidden in shadow. But as time passed, technology evolved. Satellite imagery and computer models opened the door to new questions. New analyses showed the explosion occurred 5 to 10 kilometers above the ground, very different from typical meteor impacts. But one question still lingered. What exactly exploded? Was it an icy comet or a metallic asteroid? Scientists began to favor the theory of an icy body exploding in the atmosphere. That could explain the lack of debris. This theory aligned with many observations. Yet, the mystery of Tunguska remained unsolved. Every answer raised new questions. Tunguska had become more than a natural event. It now symbolized humanity's helplessness in the face of the unknown. Scientific explanations didn't satisfy the public. Alternative theories began to spread, some of them wildly outlandish. One of the most striking theories suggested a UFO crash. An alien spacecraft had supposedly obliterated the Tunguska forest. Supporters of this theory argued that the absence of a crater proved the event was extraterrestrial in origin. Some eyewitnesses claimed they saw a silver disk moving in the sky. It was the beginning of decades of controversy. Another theory blamed the event on a failed experiment by Nikola Tesla. It was said he attempted to transmit energy across the world using his Wardenclyffe Tower. Tesla was rumored to have tried controlling the forces of nature. If true, it might have been the greatest man-made disaster in history. Another claim connected the explosion to a supernatural being. Some believed it was the wrath of a sky god. Folk legends spoke of forest spirits awakened by the blast. The explosion was seen as a rupture in the supernatural balance. During the Soviet era, some documents suggested the event may have involved secret weapons testing, but these claims were never verified. The Tunguska mystery also found its way into pop culture. Books, comics, and movies portrayed it in fantastic and fictional ways. Some claimed that fake scientific reports were fabricated after the event. The truth, they said, was deliberately hidden from the public. According to some, the Soviet KGB silenced those who knew the truth. Yet no definitive evidence ever surfaced. Another belief was that the Tunguska event was part of an alien message, perhaps even a warning. Some suggested beings from another dimension crossed over that day. Could space-time itself have been torn open? In modern times, cults have emerged based on these claims. Some interpreted the explosion as a divine message. The Tunguska explosion became a symbol for conspiracy theorists and pseudoscience. Everyone had their own version of the truth. Some believed the blast site retained traces of a parallel universe. The forest's energy felt strange, and nature behaved abnormally. Although scientists dismissed these claims, public fascination never waned. The mystery only made it more alluring. Tunguska had become more than just an event. It was a legend, a curiosity, even a tourist destination. Hundreds visited the site each year. But the truth still lay buried deep within the earth. What really happened? Science had advanced, but the answers remained elusive. For decades, scientists tried to understand what caused the Tunguska explosion, but the region's inaccessibility delayed any serious research. The first serious scientific expedition was led by Soviet mineralogist Leonid Kulik in 1927, 19 years after the event. Kulik and his team crossed the harsh taiga to reach ground zero. Their journey took weeks, filled with swamps and freezing rivers. Upon reaching the center, they found trees blown outward from a central point, like an invisible hand had flattened the forest. But there was something odd. No crater, no impact site, no meteorite remains, just devastation. Kulik believed a meteorite caused the explosion, yet he found no metal fragments or rock samples, only silence. Later studies confirmed the same. No impact body, no extraterrestrial material. Just flattened forest and unanswered questions. Yet, soil samples revealed microparticles with unusual elements, possibly remnants of a high-altitude explosion. Some scientists proposed that the explosion was caused by a comet, an object that vaporized before hitting the ground. According to this theory, a body exploded in the atmosphere, generating a massive airburst that crushed the forest like a hammer. The airburst theory seemed to explain why there was no crater and no solid remnants of the object. Yet, not everyone agreed. Some researchers observed unusual magnetic anomalies in the soil. These magnetic deviations hinted that the event may have been more complex than a simple airburst. Some trees in the area grew unusually fast, and traces of abnormal radiation were detected. These traces resembled nuclear activity. But such technology didn't exist in 1908. The Tunguska explosion was more powerful than modern nuclear bombs. Its shock wave was felt hundreds of kilometers away. Astronomers had reported a glowing object in the sky that day, but its identity remained uncertain. Tunguska was not just a natural disaster. It was a doorway to a scientific mystery that remains unsolved. Even today, scientists struggle to fully explain the nature of Tunguska. Theories abound, but no conclusion is definitive. Tunguska remains a natural enigma, filled with unanswered questions and silent witnesses. In the 1980s, advances in technology allowed satellite imagery and aerial photography to provide more detailed views of the Tunguska region. These images helped clarify the pattern of tree fall and the explosion's impact on the forest. In the 1990s, computer simulations modeled the explosion's physics, confirming it occurred in the atmosphere. Scientists estimate the explosion released energy equivalent to 10 to 15 megatons of TNT. The Tunguska Event is considered one of the largest atmospheric explosions ever recorded. Studies indicate the object was about 60 meters wide and exploded 5 to 10 kilometers above the ground. The explosion flattened thousands of square kilometers of forest, knocking down millions of trees. Still, there were very few human casualties, since the blast occurred far from populated areas. Tunguska reminded the scientific community of the dangers posed by near-Earth objects. Today, scientists worldwide work to develop early warning systems to prevent similar threats. The Tunguska explosion deeply affected not only nature but also human culture. The event became legendary among local communities. Local people associated the explosion with supernatural forces. Myths about the event were passed down through generations. Over time, Tunguska became a worldwide curiosity. Newspapers, magazines, and documentaries spread its mystery to a wide audience. In popular culture, Tunguska became a staple theme in films and books, especially within science fiction and mystery genres. Many artists were inspired by the event, creating paintings, sculptures, and poems that kept its legacy alive. Tunguska became a symbol that questioned nature's power and humanity's place in the universe. Scientists and philosophers debated the event extensively, reconsidering humanity's relationship with nature. Today, the area is popular for hiking and ecotourism, attracting visitors tracing nature and history alike. In modern society, Tunguska lives on as a symbol of mystery and awe beyond a mere natural disaster. As humanity seeks to unravel the universe's secrets through events like Tunguska, every discovery breeds new questions. The Tunguska event raised awareness about extraterrestrial threats. Discussions began on how to prepare for dangers from space. Many countries developed continuous sky-scanning warning systems. International collaborations aimed at protecting Earth were formed. NASA and other space agencies track and analyze potentially hazardous asteroids' orbits. Tunguska reminded humanity of its cosmic vulnerability and highlighted the importance of investing in technology. Preparatory drills against similar disasters occur worldwide. The effectiveness of early warning systems is continuously tested. scientists develop spacecraft-based intervention methods to prevent future impacts. With these technologies, humanity aims to communicate with the cosmos more safely. Events like Tunguska have fostered global scientific cooperation and responsibility. Thus, humanity will be more conscious, prepared, and resilient in the future. The Tunguska explosion is not just a memory of the past, it is a warning for our future. The Tunguska Event profoundly influenced scientists' understanding of the universe and our planet. It marked a turning point in the development of planetary defense systems. In popular culture, Tunguska found its place among mysterious disasters and conspiracy theories. Many films, series, and books drew inspiration from the mysterious explosion, fueling creativity. Science fiction writers used Tunguska as a metaphor for extraterrestrial life, time travel, and parallel universes. The theme of Tunguska appeared in music and visual arts, captivating artists with its dramatic nature. Tunguska remains a phenomenon, bridging science and art in collective memory. Scientific communities increased efforts to make science more accessible, influenced by popular culture. As a result, younger generations grew interested in exploring the universe's secrets. Tunguska's impact left deep marks not only scientifically, but also culturally and socially. The Tunguska explosion remains one of the greatest mysteries in world history. Decades later, it still reminds us how small humans are against nature's power and the universe's mysteries. As science progresses, answers multiply, but so do new questions. Tunguska sparked humanity's curiosity and the desire to explore. This mysterious blast inspires us on the path to uncover the secrets of the universe. Each new discovery deepens our wisdom and respect for nature and the cosmos. Tunguska endures as part of both our past and our future. This great event is both a warning and a source of hope for humanity. In the future, we must learn to live in harmony with nature's forces. The mystery of Tunguska will forever keep humanity's spirit of exploration alive.